But my sister saw me in my worst emotions after emotions. How do you pull yourself from that, right? That was one of the worst things. Nobody knew what I was going through. I never said anything to those bashers. I wanted to help as many women as possible to be healthy. My gosh, ang pangit ko na. Every day is a moment. Right now, this is a moment. You gotta take your own time and enjoy life. Follow your heart, find your passion, and get to know yourself. And that's the best gift that you can ever give yourself, is to never give up. Hey everyone, welcome back to Me Time with Mitch, our series of wellness content. And in today's episode, we are going to talk about mental health. If you guys have been feeling depressed, stressed, or anxious lately, know that your feelings and your emotions are valid. Know that it is normal to feel those emotions, and super important to take care of our mental health as it is to take care of our physical health. So in today's episode, I will be sharing with you guys my personal stories, as well as feature some of your entries and answer some of your questions. Okay, so for now, I will be sharing with you guys some of my experiences. Siguro we can start with nung nag-artista pa ako. Becoming an artista, I started working when I was 15 years old, actually 13, when I was discovered by an agent to do a Johnson & Johnson commercial. And then at 15, na-discover ako to do the show Star Circle Quest. And honestly, siguro at the time, yun yung moment that I was still, when you're 13 to 15 years old, you don't even know what you want in life. You're just literally starting your life. You know, at that time, I felt like I had to, kailangan ko tumanda or mag-mature right away because of my experiences when I was younger. So honestly, I think something really bad happened when I was a kid. And I think nadala ko yung emotions and the trauma and yung anxiety all the way hanggang sa teenager ako. And I think the only way for me to show that emotion, to show kung ano talaga yung na-feel ko, because I couldn't talk to anybody. And especially in the Philippines, na parang people look down on you or they don't really open up about certain things. And that's the culture that we have. You know, it's not necessarily, and some people are more open, especially these days. But back in the day, walang ganon na parang if you're sad, oh, okay lang yan, just hang out with your friends or magiging okay din ang lahat, right? Like, they don't really think of it as seriously na minsan hindi mo alam that people, we are consumed by our thoughts. And for me at the time, I had nobody to talk to. So I think the way I coped up with it was through rebellion. Talagang, I was such a rebel kid growing up. Teenage years ko, I wasn't taking my artista life seriously. I was really partying almost every single night. As in, self-destructive talaga. Why? To numb the pain. Because I wasn't able to express that growing up. And I guess during my teenage years, I was finding ways. And at the same time, I was having troubles with my parents, my mom specifically. Hindi talaga kami magkasundo before. Talagang lagi kami nagka-clash, and the reason why I left the house as early as 16 years old, I've been providing for myself since I was 16. So yun, I think dinala ko yun doon. And at some point in my life, I think at 20, that's a long time of coping up, right? Talagang through that, from 15 to 16 years old all the way to 20, people were just judging na parang you're always out, you're always this, and people think na parang okay lang ang life, it's so peachy and nice, and you know na, oh, you got this, you're artista, this and that, what else could you ask for? And obviously, mga personal issues mo, you don't talk about it in, you know, sa showbiz. People don't care. They just want you to do your job, to act, work every single day, work hard, and they praise you for working hard, but they never really ask how you're doing. Nobody would really ask in that type of industry, even if you share with them. It's not, I don't think it's genuine. It's more so They just want to know. They just want a scope. They just want things to put on the newspapers. So I guess dealing with that growing up with no outlet, I was really lost. And I think at some point I was depressed. I was always drinking. I was never an alcoholic or anything, but every single night, kahit pagod ako from work, I would just drink because I didn't want to feel that pain. Maybe at 20 when I got a contract with GMA and I changed my manager. Syempre natakot ako kay Tita Annabelle. At that point, I had two choices. Either to continue with that path of, self-destruction, all these things, party, drinks, whatever. Or the right way where we're gonna focus on work, we're gonna pick ourselves up, and we're gonna do the right way, this and that. And I chose the other one. Siguro sa takot ko na rin kay Tita Annabelle. But yeah, I chose. And once I did that, nagbago lahat sa life ko. Everything changed. More opportunities opened up for me. And I think siguro mas naging open na ako. And I was able to actually, instead of running away from my emotions, instead of drinking or whatever, I was able to actually sit on my feelings and think of, why I'm feeling a certain way. Basta just getting to know my emotions and be able to handle them. Pero hindi naman siya yun right away. It took some time. And I guess that's how I was able to cope. And I got super busy. When I was with GMA, I had back-to-back. Even with ABS, I had back-to-back work. I would really probably had 1 or 2 days off. That's it. Since I was 16, I was never, you would never see me. Or even on my off days, I would be training, working out, running errands, everything. I was never just home and relaxing. Siguro maybe 1 day out of like 3 months, I would have 2 to 3 days off. But during those age na talagang you need nurturing. You're a teenager. And I was doing life at that time. So yeah, that's how I was able to do it. And I guess talking to friends, I changed my set of friends. I never had, and it's nothing against celebrities or anything. It's really just finding the right friends. Since I started acting, I would have celebrity friends here and there, but I never really got close to them because I opened up my friendships to people that I knew that I would add value to me. During my party days, my rebel days, I had a different set of friends. Yun yung talagang mga party lang, that's it. No deeper connection or anything. But then, at some point in life, I surround myself with older people who are more mature, who were doing life the right way. So they were like they were my role models. And they're still my friends up to this day. So those were really, I called them my family because I didn't really, it was just different. Let's just put it that way, growing up. But things have changed now, okay? But yeah, so that's what I did. If you need to let go of the people who are pulling you down, who are not helping you, who are not nurturing you to grow or to help you, and whatever it is that you're going through, you have to pick yourself up. You can only do it on your own. But you have to acknowledge and know that it is okay to feel those emotions. Just never deny it. You have to be aware and accept it. That's the most important thing, is accepting it. I just wanna add yung sa kanina. Siguro, yun nga, na nag-artista pa, diba? After ng isang relasyon, isa na naman. So I think yung coping mechanism ko talaga before, I would get really depressed. I remember talaga na pinaka-worst siguro nung 15 ako. Sobrang bata, diba? 15 to 16 na I ended this relationship. Talagang first relationship. And hindi natin i-mention kung sino. But siguro dun ko na first na experience yung talaga nagkaroon ako ng severe depression because I did not leave the room. I was sharing the room with my sister, and for 1 week straight, nasa kama lang ako. I didn't eat. The lights were off. I didn't want to get out of bed. And I don't share this story often, but my sister saw me in my worst. Talagang, I didn't leave the room. She would go to school. I didn't go to school. For 1 week straight, I was just in bed. That's how I would cope with things talaga before. That's how I dealt with my emotions, with my depression before. I guess, yun, kung kailan lang talaga ako tumanda. I think now it's still a process that I'm dealing with, because at the time I was always, doing it a certain way. Like, okay, I'm gonna be depressed. If I feel some type of emotion, anxious, depressed, sad, I would drink to numb my emotions. I was always numbing, and I never really took the chance to sit on it and to journal and to see my pattern. And now I actually realize my patterns, the reason why I was never able to move past or even to really, release or let go of those emotions before, because I never really learned about my patterns. Hindi ko alam kung bakit I feel a certain way. I never asked myself questions. And it's really, really important for you to do that. So now, yun na nga, as I was saying, let's talk about as a full-time mom. I had PPD when I gave birth for at least 6 to 8 months. Literally, after becoming a mom, and I don't know if a lot of you can relate, but this is how I feel, and I'm just gonna be open about it. You can judge me, but that's how I feel. I felt traumatized because it was such a huge transition for me, moving to America, having a family at the time, leaving my career, starting a new life, figuring out myself. This was happening in my late 20s, right? And you would think people put that pressure on you now. When you hit a certain age, you should figure it all out. And it's not true. Especially in our culture. Oh, kailangan, you have to have a baby at 27. Oy, mag-asawa ka na. Like, no, you're 20 years, like your 20s. This is supposed to be you figuring out your life. You should be going through personal development. This should be your most selfish years. Your 20s. Selfish. Because when you hit 30s, that's when you prepare for that marriage, whatever it is, kids, and all of that. And I don't think I was able to experience that because I was always, maybe something in me that happened in the past, I was always chasing love, family, and I never really got the chance for myself. If you're in your 20s, enjoy. This should be a personal growth, personal development journey, so don't rush. And I think that's the reason why after having a child and going through all those big transition in my life, I had the worst depression, like I guess postpartum. Like sometimes I would breastfeed and I would just cry. I didn't feel what other moms felt, na parang that connection, like yung iba, diba na, oh, breastfeeding. No, I was sad, I was crying. I could be watching TV, a funny show with Anika while breastfeeding, and then bigla akong iiyak. And then I'll have all those negative thoughts. What am I gonna do with my life? What's this? Oh my gosh, this is the life that I have now. I guess the worst part was not being close to my family at the time. They were so far, they were in the Philippines. I didn't know na ganun pala kalaki yung magiging effect niya sa akin, not to have anybody after giving birth, like literally. I didn't have the emotional support, I guess. Ganun lang nangyari sa akin. And then a few months later, so I gave birth October. So let's say, okay, after 4 to 5 months, I'm still figuring out kung if I still had the depression, maybe not. I really wanted to go home. I was waiting for my dad's 60th birthday in 2018 to surprise him. I was willing to sacrifice those few months. Okay, I'm gonna see my family. And then 2018 happened and my dad passed. And I think that was one of the worst things because I'm still recovering from my own postpartum depression, and then I'm gonna go through another depression because my dad passed. So I guess emotions after emotions, how do you pull yourself from that, right? That was the hardest year for me. Tsaka ko, grabe. And I think that's when I really turned into fitness. Talagang when I was 4 months pregnant, actually 3. After the 12 weeks, I started working out. And I think a lot of moms go through that phase na you don't love yourself when you see your belly and everything. And it is normal. I've felt it. I've never been that big ever in my life. Talaga, I've never weighed 150 pounds ever. So that's another transition, but it's all mental. It's what you tell yourself. I would wake up 5:30 a.m., especially after my dad passed, to numb the pain. Instead of drinking, instead of partying, I turned into exercise. I turned to waking up early, feeling better rather than feeling bad about myself. So instead of feeling emotions, and every single day I would wake up when I was trying to change my physique, my dad passed, I used that as my motivation and to also help with the depression that I was going through. The pain emotionally was too hard enough, so I made sure to turn to fitness. Physical pain, mawawala right away, right? It will go away. But your emotional pain, it stays with you. If you sit on it every single day, you will be depressed. So I had to find ways to get out of that, to get out of that hole. And that's what I did. That's why fitness is such a huge thing for me, because it got me out of that situation. Yes, I pray to God. But what steps did I do so that I won't think of all these negative thoughts? Because all day I was with Anika. I became a stay-at-home mom at the time. I would make sure that I would at least get 1 hour of exercise to myself. That was my time for myself. And people were judging me. Oh my gosh, your baby was still young. Add the bashers to that. Your baby's still young. You're working out. You no need to rush. Magpapayat. Nobody knew what I was going through. Nobody knew that I was actually using that time to grieve. But instead of crying, sitting with my negative emotions and my negative thoughts, I worked out so that I could be a happy mom, so that I could be there for my child. Because if I didn't do that for myself, I would be in bed. I would probably ask someone else to watch Anika. And I think I never said anything to those bashers, because for me, it's like, you don't even know what I'm going through. It's easy to pinpoint people's decisions or whatever they do on social media without knowing the real reason why they're doing it. With that, here we are. I am an online coach because I was able to transform my body, but it was just more than that. It was literally getting over that grief, the promise that I made to my dad, because honestly, after he passed, I wanted to help as many women as possible to be healthy, because my dad had triple bypass, and then the last time his body, his kidney, everything just started to fail. And if I could help one family to save, to prevent their mom, their daughters to have any illness, disease, I would do it. And that's why my why is bigger than, it's not just, oh, you're just an online coach. And I truly, truly believe that. Gosh, ang pangat ko na. And just to end my personal story, honestly, walang ibang makakatulong sa'yo kundi ikaw lang. And that's coming from the bottom of my heart, because I've experienced it. You can't rely on anyone else. Yes, there will be people, there are people who can help you. Reach out to them, but it should come from you. You should be aware and you should acknowledge, because once you acknowledge that you need help, that you're depressed, that you have anxiety, that you need help. It doesn't mean kasi sa atin, the norm is, oh, you only go see a therapist or a psychiatrist if baliw ka, which is not the case. Sometimes people just need someone to talk to vent out without any judgment. And I think it's so important na hindi na ganun ang tingin sa atin. Like sa Pinoy, parang pagtatawanan ka lang, oy, depressed, ano ba yan? Alika, kain tayo, labas lang. No, some people are really going through it, that they have to fight every single day with their negative thoughts. And we should never take this lightly. If a friend comes to you, really dig deeper and talk to them, because you'll never know what they're going through. And don't judge them, because you are not in their shoes. You need to acknowledge it so that way you can pull yourself out of that grave. You just have to decide and make the right choices for yourself. So with that, I'm gonna share some entries from you guys. Someone said, I used to suffer a lot of anxiety from Hazel Aldridge, but that has changed and hardly get anxious now. I'm going through spiritual awakening early this year. Yes, that's what I did last year. 2020 was actually my best year. When you're spiritually awakened, you will become a whole new version of yourself. So true. You ask guidance, ask God, and ask for holistic help, and acknowledge the fact that you need help, and have new perspective in life. Your old self is gone and new version settled in. That's what happened to me. So right, I felt that same thing when I read A New Earth by Eric Tolle. You guys have to read that book. Spiritual awakening is so amazing. Being spiritually awakened is like a weird feeling because a new you takes over, but it is a wonderful journey because you're becoming a better version of yourself. That is the goal, you guys. That is the goal. Take it one day at a time. Thank you, Hazel Aldridge, for sharing with me. Queen Princess, I'm a warrior when I became a mom, but when I understood that God never wants us to worry or be anxious of anything, it was and it is freedom. The word of God is powerful. So true. You guys, if you don't have anybody to lean on, talk to God. And I know it may seem cliche for some people, but talk to Him. He's always listening. He doesn't judge, but you have to tell Him and share how you're truly feeling and have a change of, perspective in life. Vanessa's vlog. Hi Michelle, I'm fairly new in your channel and so far loving your content. Thanks for sharing your journey with us. So I'm a military wife and a full-time mom. We're actually stationed in Fort Hood, which is in Dallas. There are just days when I'm physically and mentally drained and we have no energy. I know I should be doing some kind of exercise, but honestly I don't. I'd like some advice from you on how to start being more active and how I can prepare myself mentally. So, in regards to your mental health, it's so true. As a mom, I'm a mom of one and I'm already drained. Setting time for yourself every single day, and I've mentioned this in my other vlogs. Every day I wake up at 5 to 5:30 in the morning because if you don't want to take away time from your family, you have to do this. It's not I have to, I must, and I get to do it. Because why? It is for yourself. You're honoring yourself. Why do I like waking up at 5? Because everything is quiet, everything is peaceful. I get to drink my coffee without Anika asking for anything. It's my time for myself. I read my journal, I read my devotional book, whatever book I'm reading. I meditate for like 10 to 15 minutes. I say my affirmations and then I get ready for the day. It feels amazing. When you start doing that, you will feel so much better. You have to prioritize yourself first before you can take care of others. Alright, and then on Instagram, I would just love to read, how do you manage nagging and toxic behavior from family members when you mean well? Honestly, I think we all go through that. Sometimes you just have to walk away. Walk away, and it doesn't mean because you don't care, but sometimes you need to wait until the situation simmers down. You need time for everyone to kind of calm down and then go back to the situation. You care and love yourself enough that you have to step away for maybe a few months because you're still very reactive and sensitive to whenever you hang out with these people. When little things that used to irritate you before doesn't even affect you anymore, that's the time that you can come back. Because a lot of people are extra sensitive. A lot of people have triggers when they're healing, and sometimes it could make or break the relationship, because when you go back to that toxic situation and you get triggered, then you know the outcome. We react, we go back to that cycle. But you have to explain and be open to your family, to your friends, whoever it is that gives you that toxic environment. Tell them that I'm in a healing process. I may hear a trigger point here and that, and I just want to stay away from that for a little bit until I'm able to deal with that. Just be open about it. Starting at the age of 20, I feel lonely sometimes. I overthink, especially at night, how to be happy again. You have to find yourself. That's why in your 20s, like I mentioned earlier, this is the most crucial years of your life. you're building your career, you're getting to know yourself, and you're doing personal development. It's so important to get to know yourself at this age, because you don't want to regret that when you're a little older. You don't want to miss this chance to date yourself, to really know and get to know who you are, your core values, who you want to become, and to speak your truth. That's why it's so important to do that. And if you think a lot of things of negative thoughts at night, what do? What is your nighttime routine like? Do you read books? And on top of that, reading is one thing, but writing a journal is another. Write out your thoughts, write them down, share about your emotions, your feelings, see the pattern. See whenever you feel some type of ways, and with that you can kind of help yourself. There's this book, Read, Do the Work, by Nicole. I can find the link by Dr. Nicole. She's a holistic psychologist, and I love her. And so that should be able to help you meditate, ask for guidance, and what kind of thoughts are you thinking, right? Why are you thinking that way? Is there a specific incident that happened, and how do you cope? Really dig deeper as to why you feel these emotions. Just to close this out, I guess, recognize and acknowledge that you feel some type of way. Importante yan. Ask for help, talk to a friend, to your parents, and really open up. And I know it's hard because parang, oh, I'll just keep it to myself. Maybe they will judge me. You really need to ask for help, because again, these are the first steps. Acknowledgement and then asking for help. Because if you don't do those things, you can't get to step 3. You can't get any treatment. You can't go to see a therapist. If hindi mo man lang i-admit sa sarili mo that you actually need help, I would say meditate in the mornings and throughout the day. Whenever you feel anxious, take a breather. Maybe take 5 minutes of your time, walk around wherever you are, and do some deep breathing. It does help. It sounds funny, but it does help. Again, always say your gratitude, your prayers, but really meditation would really do you well. Why? Because it's going to teach you how to quiet your mind. You could think one negative thing and then another one. So what are you telling yourself in the morning? That's why affirmations are so important. Gratitude. Journal your journey. Be yourself, and know that you're not alone. A lot of people go through that, but you have to help yourself. Okay? Alright, you guys, so that is it for this month's Me Time with Mitch. Please comment down below if you guys have any suggestions kung anong topic ang gusto nyo pag-usapan natin next month. And again, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching this. I know I look crazy from crying earlier, but I am so thankful I'm able to share about this with you guys. I hope you find this valuable. I hope that if someone in your family is going through the same problems or whatever, that you guys could help them out by sharing this and know that they're not alone, or you are not alone. Thank you guys. Maraming salamat. Mahal na mahal ko kayo.